Hi, welcome to another video lecture. We're on to a new unit, and that's the West. And we're talking about the American West and the development of it through the late 1800s with the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad and the end of the Native American Wars, and really the shifting of the West from an empty, untamed landscape to a modern agriculture, big business, centralized government kind of place. So there's kind of two views of the West, I guess you could say. There's kind of the more myth-making view, the place of rugged individualism and freedom versus the exploitation and expansion of the central government. So we're going to explore those themes in this first video, and then we'll get into more of the notes in the next one. First, we begin with a discussion of what is the American dream, right? Because this kind of plays into that whole myth-making idea of the West. The American dream is often boiled down to three major, distinct dreams. First, you have your get rich quick without having to try, win the lottery American dream, right? Go strike gold in the West American dream. And then you have the white picket fence American dream, like I like to call it, where really, America allows you to have, or the United States allows you to have this modern suburban American dream, this white picket fence, this ideal life of you, your family, your dog, and your white picket fence in a middle class kind of life. And that's available to everyone. Okay. And then you have this American dream of social mobility. The idea that you can move from one social class, one economic class to another. And all it takes is hard work and determination. And that's really all and that's like this dream, right? That you can do it if you want. That dream might be more for the upper class than the lower class. I don't know. I think a lot of upper class people want that dream to be true because then they can justify neglecting the poor. Nevertheless, you have those three distinct American dreams. They all kind of come to play in the West, where the get rich quick is striking gold and the middle class stable life is going and starting a farm and farming the land, living off the land, and having your little family unit. And then there's the moving up social classes, the idea of hard work and determination on the frontier. You might not be able to do that in the industrialized cities of the East, but when you go out to the frontier, there's no government, there's no big business, and you can make it on your own. But we're going to really explore whether or not these dreams are real. And if they are real, how do they look in the American West then? And what does that myth tell us about our own world now? And in general, those dreams can be kind of centered around three big ideas. One, that America is a place of egalitarianism, that all people in America are equal, have equal rights and opportunities, and that this has always been true to some extent, right? Now we have just covered Reconstruction and kind of the failure of America to provide that equality for freedmen, but a lot of naysayers would say, well, move west, and you have a place of egalitarianism. Then you have also the West as a place of individualism, and that idea of rugged individualism, where if you just are determined, you can find your own success, and it's on you to do that. This is an opportunity that's equal, available to everyone, and it's on you whether or not you succeed or fail. And then finally, you have liberty, a place there where you are free from oppression, and the West as a place to escape the oppressive central government, okay? But when we look closer in this unit, we'll see that egalitarianism is not what the West is like. So we're going to look at minority struggles, particularly that of the natives and the Hispanics, and then, yes, again, the freedmen in this time period of the late 1800s, right? Where egalitarianism really, if you look closely, it's not there. And if it is there, it's not there for specific groups of people. And then when we look at individualism, we'll look at, okay, who's actually successful moving west? And very rarely is it the small entrepreneur, right? They maybe can carve out that white picket fence dream, but they're not becoming the rich and powerful Vanderbilts of the world, right? And so it's big business. Okay, and then when we talk about liberty and freedom from oppression, we're going to look closely at how the central government plays a role in expanding into the West, and how the westward development is really the result of central government policies in a lot of cases. And so this myth of America being one of freedom from centralized powers, individualism and egalitarianism really doesn't hold up when we look at the West as proof of that. Now, it's not to say that it doesn't exist or hasn't existed, but the way that we frame our story of the West really doesn't fit well with those definitions. And we basically have this question: was westward development one of manifest destiny, where the American way, being ideal and superior, is going to expand in these areas and improve these areas? Or is it one of the constant cycle of exploitation and then domination, right? And especially when we look at like the environmental landscapes and farming the West, right? The great American desert. This is one of, dominating your landscape, dominating the peoples who are already there, and then exploiting that land and those peoples, right? And so we have kind of two stories of America, one that maybe we wish was true and manifest destiny, and one that we think probably is a little more sober view of America through exploitation and domination. Stay tuned for the next one.